Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today I am going to talk about the best APS-C mirrorless camera at a price point of 1 lakh to 1.2 lakhs. So I have been using a lot of cameras since the year 2015. I used multiple brands such as the Nikon, Sony, Canon and the Fujifilm, and I recently got settled with the Sony a6700 and I am completely happy about my decision. So in the year 2025, if you are going to invest 1 lakh rupees, which is very huge amount for most of the people out there, I would suggest that there should be these 3 minimum features that I am going to mention in your camera. If these 3 features are not in your camera, just dump your camera, go and buy an Apple iPhone, you will be far happy with it. I am saying this because of my personal experience, because nowadays even the basic phones which are going to cost around 25 to 30,000 rupees are going to have these features. So that's the reason I am stressing on this one. Now I'm going to talk about these 3 features briefly so you will get a good idea about it, and by the end of this video I will suggest some of the cameras which are going to have these 3 features. Now this is not a sponsored video, it's completely up to you whether you want to buy these cameras or not. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the IBIS technology. IBIS stands for in-body image stabilization, which is similar to the image stabilization that you see in most of the Apple iPhones out there. Now you can go and buy a cam which is not having the IBIS technology also, but when you try to take that handheld footage, you will see a lot of jitters in your video. So in order to counteract this, you should buy a third-party gimbal such as the DJI RS4 Mini, which will cost another 30 to 40,000 rupees extra. So my suggestion would be that go and buy a camera which is having the IBIS technology. So the second most important thing that I wanted to talk about is shooting at 4K 120 FPS. Now most of the people will argue that I don't need that 4K 120 FPS. I am fine with shooting 4K 60 FPS and I can manage a little bit of slow motion in that. But trust me, iPhone has raised that standards over the past few years, and trust me, a camera which can shoot 4K 120 FPS has the better sensor which can handle low light photography or videography. So if you are going to buy a camera which can shoot 4K 120 FPS, you are making sure that your camera is going to be future proof for the next 5 to 10 years. So please, my suggestion is that go and buy a camera which can shoot 4K 120 FPS. Not only that, you will get a cool slow motion compared to the 4K 60 FPS video. So the third most important thing is that make sure your camera is going to support third-party lenses system. Now why this is crucial? Because for example, if you take a look at the Sony G Master lenses, which are going to cost around 1 to 2 lakh rupees, at that same price range and same focal length, Tamron and Sigma are offering at half the price of G Master lenses. Now if you take a look at this Canon ecosystem, the Canon doesn't support many third-party lenses because they believe that their revenue will be hampered. So but in the year 2024 they changed these rules and they are going to support the third-party lens system, but the damage was already done and there are very few lenses available for the Canon ecosystem. So my suggestion would be that go and buy a camera which can support the third-party lenses system, so it will be cheaper when you are going to choose the glass for your camera. I would like to add an additional point here. In the year 2025, if you are spending that much amount of money, I suggest that make sure your camera is going to shoot 4K 10-bit. Now why this is important? Because in the post-production you will have a lot of flexibility in doing color grading. Now you can shoot at 4K 8-bit also, but since the bit depth is not enough, when you try to do color grading in 8-bit, there will be a lot of color tearing. So make sure that your camera is going to support that 4K 10-bit in order to get that vibrant colors. Okay guys, so now I'm going to suggest some of the cameras here. First I will talk about the full frame cameras, next I will talk about the APS-C or the crop sensor cameras. So if I have a budget of 1.23 lakhs, I would definitely go and choose the Panasonic Lumix S9 camera. So this is the king of the cameras at this price point. Compared to the Sony a6700, this is really good camera. at this price point. Okay, why? The reason is simple. Since it is a full frame camera, as you can see here, it is a full frame camera which comes with a full frame sensor, and not only that, it can shoot 6K 30 fps 10-bit open gate, 4K 60 fps at 10-bit. Now most of the people are a little bit upset because it cannot shoot that 4K 120 fps, but for a full frame camera 4K 60 fps is really good. Since it is having that full frame sensor, you will get a really good nighttime photography or videography. Not only that, it has 5-axis image stabilization, so the stabilization is really good compared to the Sony's A6700. One of my friend owns this Panasonic Lumix S9, and trust me, the colors are vibrant, the image stabilization is good, and trust me, this is the best camera that money can buy out there. So the second camera that I am going to choose in the full frame series would be the Nikon Z6 Mark II. I chose the Nikon Z6 Mark II over the Z5 Mark II because the answer is simple. The Z6 Mark II have a really advanced sensor, which is the full frame BSI CMOS sensor, and this full frame sensor is really good in terms of taking nighttime photography or videography. Not only that, it can shoot 4K 60 fps. I'm sorry, the information is a little bit wrong here. It can shoot 4K 60 fps at 10-bit. And not only that, it has 5-axis image stabilization with dual memory card slots, which is really good if you are going to take a lot of videography. Now at this price point, it is a really good camera which is offering a full frame BSI CMOS sensor. Now this would be my second option in the full frame series. So now I'm going to suggest some of the APS-C or the crop sensor camera, and in this series I would definitely go for the Sony A6700. I personally own this camera, and trust me, this is a really good camera. I literally shot an entire short film on my channel. You can go and check it out, the footage, how the footage came out. Now the only downside is that this thing hits a lot whenever you try to take that 4K 120 fps or 4K 60 fps at 10-bit. So you have to keep that in mind. Now this uses a 26 megapixel XMOR APS-C BSI CMOS sensor. So this sensor is literally seen in most in their advanced type of cameras such as the FX30. That FX30 is nearly 1.6 lakhs camera. So they place the sensor of the FX30 camera on this Sony A6700. That's the reason this camera takes a lot of good photography or videography at night times. Aside from that, you can shoot 4K 120 fps, and it has 5-axis image stabilization. Not only that, it is the king of autofocus. It has 759 autofocus points, so the autofocus on this one is really crazy. I have been shooting a lot of footage with this one, and trust me, the autofocus is really good on this one. So the next camera that I am going to choose in the APS-C lineup would be the Canon R7. So you guys may be wondering why I chose the R7 over the R8. The answer is simple. So the R8 is a full frame camera, but it is lacking the IBIS technology, so that's the reason I just eliminated this one and I chose the Canon R7. Now R7 is going to have the APS-C crop sensor, which is a CMOS sensor, and it is going to shoot 4K 60 fps at 10-bit. Not only that, it can shoot the log also, 10-bit D-log also, so 10-bit C-log also. So aside from that, it also have the 5-axis image stabilization. So this would be my second APS-C camera that I am going to choose in this lineup. Now in the final section, I would usually go with the Fujifilm X-S20. Now this is going to cost around 1,23,000 rupees. Now the only downside of this one is that it is a APS-C camera. Now the thing is that if you are spending 1,23,000 rupees, I would choose the Panasonic Lumix S9 over the Fujifilm X-S20. So it's up to you whether you want to buy the Fujifilm or the Panasonic, but my suggestion would be that go and buy the Panasonic, since it is a full frame CMOS sensor. It is having the full frame CMOS sensor. Now this Fujifilm X-S20 is going to have a APS-C BSI CMOS 4 sensor, and it have 5-axis image stabilization. It can shoot 6K at open gate 30 fps and 4K 60 fps. And not only that, it have 19 film simulation. You can go and check out in the YouTube what is this, but my personal suggestion would be the Panasonic Lumix S9, because the price range is quite similar. Okay guys, the answer is very simple. If you have a budget of 1.23 lakhs and you need a full frame camera, go and buy the Panasonic Lumix S9. It is a really good camera and the IBIS on that one is really good compared to any other full frame cameras at this price point. My second option would be the Nikon Z6 Mark II in the full frame cameras. And if you want a APS-C camera or the crop sensor camera, I would definitely suggest the A6700. It is really good camera at that price point. Trust me, I own the A6700. I took a lot of footage on it and it has all the features that is going to make that camera future proof for the next 5 to 10 years. So that was about it guys. Hope you liked this video. See you in my next video. Bye. My head is overexposed. I'm dying making these videos, no likes. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I tried so hard and got so far.